In this video, we will learn about Fourier series. We will discuss about Fourier series and its representation. Generally, there are two kinds of signals we have studied. We have studied about periodic signals and non-periodic signals, right? If you want to analyze periodic signals, we use Fourier series. Fourier series is nothing but a mathematical tool to analyze the periodic signals. Fourier series is nothing but a mathematical tool to analyze periodic signals. To analyze non-periodic signals, there is a different mathematical tool called Fourier transform, which is our second unit. So in this unit, we are only going to discuss about Fourier series. So what is the purpose of Fourier series? To analyze the time domain periodic signal. So what will we get if we analyze the time domain periodic signal? We will be able to know what are the frequencies that are available in the given time domain periodic signal. We will get to know the frequencies in the time domain periodic signal. So if I say, if this is my periodic signal, this is my periodic signal, right? It extends on both sides of my y-axis, and this is my periodic signal. Looking at this, I cannot say what are the frequencies available in my time domain signal. This is my x of t, right? X of t from 0 to t. Looking at this, I cannot directly say what are the frequencies included in my time domain signal. So if I can represent my x of t in terms of Fourier series expansion, I can say clearly what are the frequencies that that are present in my time domain signal. We'll see how we can do this later, right? So that is the need for Fourier series. So for a periodic signal, we use Fourier series, and the frequency spectrum for Fourier series is discrete. The frequency spectrum for Fourier series is discrete. That means when you draw the magnitude of your frequency spectrum, let me say it is given by mod fn. Those are the Fourier coefficients. When you draw them against n omega naught, against frequency, right? Against frequency, we are drawing the magnitude of the Fourier series or the magnitude of the signal. So this signal will generally be discrete in nature, right? It will be discrete. It will not be continuous. We'll also see how it will be discrete in this video, right? It will only be present at discrete frequencies, right? It will be present at discrete frequencies. It will not be a continuous signal. For a non-periodic signal, when you use Fourier transform, we'll get a continuous frequency spectrum that we'll be analyzing in the second unit. So for a continuous Fourier series to exist, it has to satisfy certain conditions. These conditions are called Dirichlet conditions. Okay, we are only looking at periodic signals in this unit. So continuous Fourier series exists only when the function f of t in the time period t and in the interval t1 to t2 should satisfy the following conditions. The first condition is f of t is well defined and a single valued function of t. So for any given value of t, f of t should be well defined. It should have only one value. It should be defined in the given range. In the interval t1 to t2, for any given value of t, we should be able to define the value of f of t. It should not be undefined. The second one is f of t must possess a finite number of discontinuities and a finite number of positive and negative maxima in the period t. In the given period t, there must be finite number of maxima and minima and finite number of discontinuities. If there are any infinite number of discontinuities or any infinite number of positive and negative maxima, then the Fourier series does not exist. Third one is f of t must be absolutely integrable over the given period t1 to t2. F of t dt, mod f of t dt should always result in a value less than infinite. So these are the three conditions. So if you look at these different kinds of signals here, the first signal here, if you look at this, my time period, looking at the signal, I can find out the time period, right? This part is repeating again and again. So my time period will be 0 to t0, that is t0. T0 is my time period. In this time period, how many maximas do I have? I have only one maxima at this point. I have only one maxima. Then I also have to make sure that there is only a finite number of minimas. So to find the number of minimas in one time period, I am considering this interval from this point to this point. This is also one time period, right? From t0 by 2 to 3 t0 by 2. Again, it is t0 only. The difference is t0 only. So in this time interval, if you look at the number of minimas, there is only one minima. There's only one minima. So finite number of maxima and finite number of minima. So we can find the Fourier series expansion for x1 of t. Similarly, if you look at x2 of t, so this is my time period, right? From this point till this point, this signal, whatever the signal is there in between these 2 points, is repeating again from here to here. So this is my time period. So if I look at the number of maximas, see, this is one maxima, and again here there is one more maxima, one more maxima, one more maxima, and there are infinite number of maximas here. And similarly, there are infinite number of minimas. So we cannot find the Fourier series expansion of such signals. Such signals, Fourier series expansion is not possible. The second let us consider this signal x1 of t here. Here we are going to look at the number of discontinuities. Discontinuities means sudden steep rise from 0 to 1 or any value, right? The steep rise, 90 degrees rise. This is a discontinuity. Basically, at 0, the value at t is equal to 0, we have 0 and 1 both. It's a discontinuity. We have studied the discontinuity in unit step signals also. So similar graph anywhere you find, it is called a discontinuity. So in this signal of time period, we have, what is the time period? From here, my signal is repeating till this point, right? From 0 to t0, the same thing is being repeated again and again. So in this one time period, how many discontinuities do I have? The first discontinuity occurs at t is equal to 0. Second discontinuity occurs at t is equal to t0 by 2. And again, this is a third discontinuity at t is equal to t0. Right? 3 discontinuities. So 3 means it is finite. And here in the second signal, there is one discontinuity here, other discontinuity here, followed by many other discontinuities. It keeps on increasing. There are infinite number of discontinuities. So we cannot find a Fourier series expansion of this signal, right? Fourier series expansion of this signal. So finite number of maxima and minima and finite number of discontinuities. And the last one, absolutely integrable. So I should consider one time period 0, 0 and t0, right? In this time period, this is my time period, right? 0 to t0. So T naught is my time period. In this time period, if I integrate my x1 of t, if I integrate my x1 of t dt, I should get a finite value. If I say 0 to t naught x1 of t. What is x1 of t? x1 of t is only defined in the interval, or is, let us say, it is some a in between 0 and t naught by 2. So 0 to t naught by 2, instead of x1 of t, I am going to write, instead of x1 of t, I will write a. So 0 to t naught by 2, a is a constant, and dt. If I integrate it, I'll get a into t, and substitute the limit, I'll get a into t naught by 2, which is less than infinity. So this first signal is absolutely integrable. If I do the same thing for the second signal, so let me consider this is my time period, right? From this point till this point. This signal is nothing but tan t, tan 0, tan pi by 2, negative pi by 2. If you integrate this signal over the limits minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, we will get a value of infinity. So such signals are not absolutely integrable, and we cannot find the Fourier series for signals which are not absolutely integrable. So in the previous video, we have seen how can we define a function in terms of multiple orthogonal, mutually orthogonal functions. There it was shown that f of t is equal to c1 g1 of t plus c2 g2 of t, and so on, cr gr of t. It was, and we can extend it up to infinity, right? We can extend it up to infinity. If it is a complete set, we can extend it up to infinity. So the general formula for CR was given as integral t1 to t2 f of t gr of t dt divided by integral t1 to t2 gr square of t dt, right? Now, when we talk about Fourier series, there are three types of Fourier series. The first one is trigonometric Fourier series. The second one is a modified form of trigonometric Fourier series, which is also called cosine Fourier series, or polar Fourier series, and the third one is exponential Fourier series, or complex exponential Fourier series. So trigonometric Fourier series is the first type of Fourier series. So here we have already talked about a complete set. If it is a complete set, if gr of t is a complete set, then we can express f of t like this. So we know that sine n omega naught t and cos n omega naught t for n from 0 to infinity, will form a complete set. Sine and cos are orthogonal, and there is no other function that is orthogonal to sine and cos. right? There's no other function that is orthogonal to both sine as well as cos, and we are considering all kinds of sine functions: sine omega naught t, sine 2 omega naught t. Omega naught is the fundamental frequency, fundamental angular frequency. So we are considering all harmonics of sine as well as all harmonics of cos. Each and every signal is orthogonal to each and every signal in the set, right? So this forms a complete set. So this forms a complete set. So if I can write f of t in terms of all this complete set, what can I write? F of t is equals to, for sine I am taking b b b as the coefficient, right? I am taking b as the coefficient. So b naught sine n is 0, so 0 omega naught t plus b1 sine omega naught t plus, and so on. I'll go up to infinity, right? Or I'll say, right, infinity sine infinity omega naught t, right? Plus cos I'll consider a naught cos 0 omega naught t plus a1 cos omega naught t plus, and so on, plus a infinity cos infinity omega naught t. So if sine 0 omega naught is 0, cos 0 omega naught t goes to 1. So simplify this. I have a naught, which is my DC term, right? This is my DC term, and I have a1 cos omega naught t, b1 sin omega naught t. Similarly, a2 cos 2 omega naught t, b2 sin 2 omega naught t, and so on up to infinity. The general form for this will be an cos n omega naught t plus bn sin n omega naught t, and summation n from 1 to infinity, right? That is what we have written here, right? F of t is equal to a naught plus summation n is equal to 1 to infinity an cos n omega naught plus bn sin n omega naught. Now we need to find out an expression for these coefficients. We need to find out an expression for these coefficients. What is the general expression? This is the general expression, right? From using this expression, we'll find general expressions for a naught, an, and bn. So if we consider a naught, I will consider over a time period of t, over one single time period. I'll consider one single time period, and f of t, right? f of t gr of t. What is my gr of t here? Cos n omega naught t, right? For a naught and n is equal to 0, this is equal to 1, right? 1 dt divided by a single time period t, gr square is nothing but 1 square dt. If I simplify this, let me consider my time period is from t naught to t naught plus t. right? This is my time period. Or I can also say from 0 to t. I can also say minus t by 2 to plus t by 2. So my final time period must be equal to one time period of the signal, right? F of t dt divided by, what do I have here? I have t from t naught to t naught plus t. If I simplify this, my denominator will be equal to t. So 1 by t integral t naught to t naught plus t f of t dt, f of t dt. That is the formula for a naught. So a naught is equal to 1 by t integral t naught to t naught plus t f of t dt. So similarly, if I find an, I'll have integral, let me consider for simplicity purpose, 0 to t 0 to t f of t my gn of t is going to be cos n omega naught t, cos n omega naught t divided by 0 to t integral 0 to t cos square n omega naught t dt, right? Cos square n omega naught t dt, right? So in this denominator, if I evaluate, what is the value of the denominator? Let me erase some stuff here. I'll erase this one, right? Integration of 0 to t cos square n omega naught t. What is cos square n omega naught t? Cos square n omega naught t is 1 plus cos 2n omega naught t by 2, right? By 2. So I'll separate the by 2 for both the terms, and I'm left with dt. So 1 by 2 dt. What is 1 by 2 dt? Integral of 1 by 2 dt, it is going to be 1 by 2 t from 0 to t plus integral of cos is sine 2n omega naught t by 2n omega naught, and I also have 1 by 2 here, so I can write that as 4n omega naught. I can write that as 4n omega naught from 0 to t, right? So the first term will be equal to t by 2. The second term here, let me simplify this term here, right? I have 2n omega naught can be written as 2 pi by t, right? And in place of t, I'll write my upper limit, capital T. What happens? dt gets cancelled. I'm left with 4n pi. 4n pi. Sine 4n pi is always 0, right? Sine 4n pi is always 0. And if I substitute the lower limit, sine 0, that is also 0. So this entire term goes to 0. So I'm left with t by 2, right? Therefore, this denominator is t by 2. So if I get it outside, I'll get it as 2 by t integral 0 to t, or I can also write t naught to t naught plus capital T f of t cos n omega naught t dt. This is my an. Similarly, bn, if I find the value for bn, same steps as an. Instead of cos, we'll have sine. We will get 2 by t integral 0 to t f of t sine n omega naught t dt. Right? These are the three formulas for a naught, an, and b. A naught is equal to 1 by t integral t naught to t naught plus t, or integral 0 to capital T f of t dt. An will be 2 by t into 0 to t integral f of t cos n omega naught t dt, and bn is going to be 2 by t integral 0 to t f of t sin n omega naught t dt, right? So that is what we have written here. These are the final formulas for coefficients of the trigonometric Fourier series, right? Then there are some conditions, some conditions called symmetry conditions, which we can find out from the given signal. So if we can apply these symmetry conditions to the given signal, the number of calculations will drastically reduce for us. The number of calculations will drastically reduce. So we'll see what are those conditions. The first one is if the given signal is an even function. So basically, let me take a signal which is even, which is an even function. Right? Let me consider this signal here. This is my signal. This is my signal. So this is 0. This is t. This is t by 2. This is t by 2. This is t. And this is minus t by 2. And minus t. Right? If you look at this signal, it is symmetrical about y-axis, right? Here I have the signal going like this, right? From at 0 I have a maximum value, and it is continuing to till t by 4. Same signal, it is having a maximum value on the left side of the y-axis also, right? Till t by 4. And then Basically, if I fold the right hand side of the y-axis onto the left hand side of the y-axis, they overlap each other. Such signals are called even signals, right? If I overlap this, if I fold this paper into half, this part of the signal will overlap exactly on this part of the signal. Hence, we can say it is an even signal. F of t is equal to f of minus t, right? So basically, if I say t at t is equal to t by 2, what is the value here? Let us say it is minus a, right? At t is equal to t by 2, value is minus a. What is the value at t is equal to minus t by 2? T is equal to minus t by 2 also, the value is minus a. So f of t by 2 is equal to f of minus t by 2. So similarly for every other value here, every other value of t, f of t is equal to f of minus t. Hence we can say it is an even signal, right? Even signal. For an even signal, Bn is equal to 0. Bn is equal to 0 for an even signal, right? Basically, for an even signal, all the sine terms will go to 0 and we are only left with cos terms. We are only left with cos terms. So how will the A0 and An look like for even signals, right? How will A0 and An look like for even signals? We already know what is the formula for An or A0. A0 is equal to integral, okay, 1 by t integral 0 to t f of t dt, right? That is my A0. So if I know my signal is even. For an even signal in general, I can take minus a to a f of t dt is nothing but 2 into 0 to a f of t dt, right? 2 into f of t dt. I'll apply the same thing here. So here my time period is t, right? So I can write it as 1 by t. I can write it as minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 f of t minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 f of t dt, right? F of t dt. So since f of t is an even signal, I can write this as 2 by t into 0 to t by 2 f of t dt, right? 2 by t 0 to t by 2 f of t dt. That is what I will write here. A0 is equal to 2 by t integral 0 to t f of t dt, f of t dt, right? Similarly, I can do the same thing for an. So how can I write an? An will be equal to an will be equal to an will be equal to It will be equal to what an originally is 2 by t into integral 0 to t. So here it is 0 to t by 2, right? 0 to t by 2. Let me write it again. It's not very clear. So for an even signal, a naught is equal to 2 by t integral 0 to t by 2 f of t dt. Similarly, an is going to be, originally it is 2 by t, so now it becomes 4 by t 0 to t by 2 f of t cos n omega naught t dt, right? So similarly for odd function, the cosine terms will become 0. The cosine terms will become 0 and we are left with only sine terms. On further simplification of Bn, we have 4 by t integral 0 to t by 2 0 to t by 2 f of t sine n omega naught t dt, sine n omega naught t dt. Then half wave symmetry. Half wave symmetry means if I take my original signal f of t and shift it by half time period, whatever the time period is there for that signal, if I shift my original signal by half of the time period, then my resultant signal must be equal to negative of the original signal. Negative of the original signal, right? The same signal which we considered previously, I'll just take. This was the condition, this was the signal we considered, right? So from t, I'm sorry, from 0 to t. Now, what is the half time period of this signal? It is t by 2. So t by 2, right? Now I will shift my original signal. I will shift this signal from 0 to t by 2. So what will I get? I'll get something like this. Whatever is there at 0, it shows up at t by 2. So t by 2. It will be something like this. And whatever is there here, minus t by 2 will come at 0. It will be something like this, right? Shifted by t by 2. So this is t by 2, and this is 0. So if you look at these two signals, they're exactly opposite to each other, right? Exactly opposite. Here it is positive, at the same place it is negative. Here it is negative, and the same place here it is positive. So f of t plus or minus t by 2, whichever direction you shift, right shift or left shift, we will get the negative of the original signal. Such signals are called half wave symmetric. Such signals are called half wave symmetric. When a signal is half wave symmetric, we'll only have odd harmonics. We'll only have odd harmonics. That means A naught, A naught, A2, A4, and so on. Similarly, B naught, B2, B4, right? All of these will be 0. We'll only have A1, A3, A5 and so on, B1, B3, B5 and so on, right? So that is half wave symmetric. That is half wave symmetric. If my signal exhibits both half wave and even or half wave and odd, such signals are called quarter wave symmetric. Such signals are called quarter wave symmetric. If my signal exhibits half wave and even symmetry, both these conditions, this condition for even signal and this condition for the half wave symmetry, both combine together. For even signals, what happens? Bn is equal to 0. So Bn is 0 and A0 and An are given here by these equations. If it is half wave symmetry, what happens? It only odd harmonics exist. Odd harmonics exist. That means A0 will become 0 because it's an even harmonic. A0 will become 0 and An will exist only for n is equal to 1, 3, 5 and so on. For 2, 4, 6 and so on, it will be 0, right? So if you can find only An for half wave and even symmetry signal, that is sufficient. For half wave and odd symmetry, An is 0 and A0 is 0 according to odd signal, odd symmetric conditions. According to odd symmetric conditions, both A0 and An are 0 and only Bn exists. Bn also, it exists only for odd harmonics because the signal is half wave symmetry. The signal is half wave symmetry. It only exists for odd harmonics. So these are the different conditions, right?